This is Garden Girl Marcy Penner with a video for you on the milestone theme for this month in the garden. And my kids are older. They are 10, 12, and 14, so we don't have a lot of milestones happening, at least not typical milestones, I suppose, until someone learns to drive, but we have little ones. So in this instance, my youngest got glasses, so in our lives that is a milestone that he can actually see again. So I'm going to start right in, and the start of this page came from one of these journaling cards that are pre-packaged, and this one's a 4x6, and I wanted this to kind of be the highlight of my page. So I thought what I would do is I would focus at, originally I was just going to do a banner of paper at the bottom and have my photo and some elements up here, and then I thought, why don't I move everything to the bottom? So I'm gonna try to incorporate this card, but I don't need the journaling lines, so I'm just gonna cut them off, and I'm gonna go ahead and just glue that down. I'm gonna trim this straight once I'm done, but right now I'm not too worried about it. Okay, so I'll line that up there, and I pulled a few papers that had some of the blue, the red, and the yellow. So I have this one from Studio Calico Print Shop, which obviously I've dipped into a bit. And then I have a white with little gray kind of tick marks almost from Amy Tangerine. And then I have this one from Echo Park, which has nothing to do with my page other than I liked that it had the navy and then some of the light blue. And so I'll probably just use a little piece of it. It's obviously a sports themed paper, but for my purposes it will work just as well. And then I have also pulled some of the new Crate Boys Rule line that had kind of the same primary colors. So those are the ones that I'm going to try to work in here. So I'm going to, I think, start, and I'm just going to stick a little piece in this corner. So pretty much what I'm doing is I'm just kind of doing a color blocking type effect at the bottom. And again, I'm just going to trim off the bottom at a later point. So I'm going to add, I want to do the yellow here and probably this white paper as the bulk here. So I'm going to try to find, I think, a red. So my options are possibly a stripe, maybe, or this one from Crate that has kind of the smaller. Okay, and I like that. This is a bigger element, and then I'm going to have a busier one here. I think that's going to work out well. So again, I'm just going to trim off a random piece, and I'll just glue it down here, and I'll, that's going to be a little misleading with this design, but I'll try to trim it off later. Okay, so the bulk of my photo mat is going to be this white one, just to kind of separate it from all that busy color. And because he has so much busyness going on in his shirt, I'll kind of use that to separate that a bit. So I'm just going to cut a wide mat. And I'm going to use that over here, and then I'm going to tuck in this yellow over here. And now I like how this smaller print, I have the same thing happening over here, even though it is a different color. I think that will work out well. So I'm just going to make my scissor marks, and I'll just trim this off. I have a great deal of affection for plus sign items lately, so I think we'll just run with that. Okay, so before I glue down my photo, normally what I will do is I will add my paint splatters just on my cardstock and then build on top of that. But this time I wanted to put them on top of the pattern paper. So I'm just going to trim off what I don't need so I know what I'm working with here. And again, if you've taken a peek at stuff that I've made, normally it's been 12 by 12. Back in the day when I started scrapbooking, I did 8.5 by 11, and I'm revisiting that a little bit. So if this looks a little odd to what I normally do, that would be why. Okay, so normally now what I would do too is I would stitch down. If I add my paint later, 9 times out of 10 I hit the thread and it bleeds and it looks horrible. So I'm going to do my paint prior to my sewing. So I'm not sure if I've shown this in the past, but I just shake up my spray paint and I spray in my cap, and then all I do is I kind of flick that on. So while that's drying, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to move that out of the way a little bit, and I'm just going to play around with my embellishments. So these are some things that I've pulled, and I know for sure I want this sticking on my top, so I'll show you that a little bit later, but I'll put that aside. So my plan is to have the photo on this side and then kind of a cluster of embellishments later on that side. So typically I layer a tag just so that it's kind of a home for embellishments, so they're not floating around. And this is a little label from Elle Studio or LE Studio, and I just want this little arrow in the middle, so I'm going to trim that off. And I see myself sewing like right through there, I think. So I'm just going to layer that on, and then I grabbed a couple more. This is a badge from Studio Calico's Wanderlust line. Let's see if I can find it in my pile here. So it would have been on this set. Obviously this one in particular, travel themed, it has a map on it, but I like that it said sea, and this page is about getting glasses, so I'm going to work with that as well. And I have a little October afternoon snap caps, and so I have a little one that says show and tell, which was with the school line, but again, I think it works out well because, you know, we're showing our new glasses and telling people about them and stuff. So I'm just going to work on layering some of these. I'm going to maybe try to keep those a little bit separate, maybe space out some wood veneer, and I'm just going to try to get a little cluster going. These I love, and I'm trying not to hoard them. So these are the Studio Calico Wanderlust little photo corners, but what I love about them is that they have a little tiny print on each of them, and it's kind of not tribal per se, but just little patterns on them, and they're just really cute. So I'm going to try incorporating that on there. And I have a cork star also from Studio Calico, and I like stacking things, so I'm gonna leave that. I think I didn't really want these two paper ones together, but that might be unavoidable. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to sew that one down, and this one I'm going to really elevate, just so that it really is obviously separate from that one. And then I have this little scrap of a see if I can grab it here, the crate, again, the boys rule, from a sheet of vellum, and I love the stars, so I just had a scrap lying around, and I'm just gonna I'm gonna probably tuck that in somewhere, and then maybe with some red to kind of, I know that Mr. Rad label is gonna be here, and so this red button will kind of go like that. So I'm gonna try this, and I will just wait for that to dry a little bit, and then we'll continue. Okay, so I think it's pretty much dry if I stay away from those areas. So I'm going to start by gluing down my photo and basically just moving what I have over here onto here. And I don't know why I work off of a paper when I'm clustering things, but I seem to do that. So, okay, so I'm just going to move these all over here and just do some of the bigger ones just to make sure that my tag is in the right place. Yeah, and I think it will be, so. I'm not set on anything that has to be like exactly how it was, anything like that. Just close is good enough. This label, I think I'm also going to have sticking onto the photo a little bit. I think that's going to separate it from this one down here. And the badge I'm going to leave for last, just because I'm going to be sewing, and I mean, who knows where that's going to end up. So I will leave that for the end. And I'm just going to glue on my little veneers. I have a little arrow and a little person, and these would both be from Studio Calico, I believe. And again, these I'm putting on just because I can sew right through them. That doesn't affect that at all. Okay, this guy's gonna have to move over a little bit. I don't want to have them touching, so. Okay, and that will still work out. The little vellum strip is gonna go behind the photo a bit, so I'm okay with using a little bit of adhesive that won't show up anyway. And my button I'm going to use for last. This is the vellum arrow that I put aside, and this is also from the Crate Boys Rule Collection, which I don't usually use so much of one line on a page, but apparently this time I am. So it's just filled with a whole bunch of little vellum die cuts, basically. So this is going to go up at the top, and I don't want to see my adhesive through that, so I think I'm just going to stitch right through there, so I'll just leave it loose for now. I'm going to add my journaling probably up here once I'm done sewing, and do some stamping and possibly maybe some added typing, but I'm going to go do the sewing and we'll be back. Okay, so I finished up my sewing, and I went very crooked here, so I added a second stitch so it looked like I totally meant to do that on purpose. And I've curled up my edges. I don't sew directly across papers a lot of times, because then had I done that, I wouldn't be able to curl up where they meet. So so there's a bunch of random stitches, and then instead of stitching across, I did stitch up and down just to kind of emphasize the column that was made with those embellishments. And so I've adhered a button here, and I think it looks a little bit lonely, so I'm actually going to take and probably add some enamel dots here, and then just one on this side to balance it out. So I'm going to go with, this would be my Mind's Eye set. And so I'm going to pull out the yellow and the blue, I think. So I'm going to do a blue over here so that I have a bit of blue working in a triangle there. And I'm going to add a yellow to also balance that. And I always do two different sizes. I don't know why, but I do. Okay, and then I'm just going to stick probably another little blue one just in here somewhere. Actually, I don't want to do that. I want to put one here, and I don't want it to be the same. So it's not red, but it's close. It's orange. I'm going to go with that and just stick that right there. And to finish it off, I'm just going to add the date. I don't actually feel like looking up the date right now, but I know it was January. So I'm going to take my Becky Higgins date stamp And I'm just going to stamp off a random date in January. And then I'm just going to turn the days back so those days aren't inked. And then I'm going to be left with the January 2014, which I think you can maybe see there a little bit. So that's that. I journaled just a little short tiny blurb about the moment that he got his glasses. And this is just a little peek at a milestone in our lives, and I hope you enjoyed the video and got a little few ideas from there, and thanks for watching.